So to determine the area of a composite figure, that's where there's different shapes added together. Decompose, I don't really like that word, but decompose the figure into shapes whose areas you know how to determine, then determine the sum. So basically decompose, we're gonna take apart. So when you have these composite figures, look and see what figures can you determine. We're going to split it up, take it apart, and then find the area of each one, then put them together. So in this example, determine the area of the composite figure, which would be this. So it looks kind of like Darth Vader's helmet.
Looks like a
wow. It does, doesn't it, right? Yeah. So what two shapes are these put together?
trapezoid and semicircle.
Okay, so we've got a trapezoid and semicircle. So trapezoid and semicircle. So they've already split it up for you. So the first thing we'll look at is the area of a semicircle, of the semicircle. This is the formula they give you, but you can also use pi r squared divided by 2. It's the same thing. It means the same. This is just a little bit easier to remember, I feel like. So if we go to plug our numbers into this formula, we know pi is 3.14. What's my radius for this semicircle?
14. No, 14 divided by 2.
7. 14 is my diameter, so I need half of that. So 7 squared divided by 2. So we want to do the top part first. Let's do order of operations.
7 times 7 is 49.
So 7 times 7 is 49. Then multiply that by 3.14. Then last step will be to divide by 2. So let's take 3.14 times 49. 28. 16. So 153.9, I just rounded it up, and then I'm going to divide by 2, last step. Okay, so we should end up the area of the semicircle being 76.9.
Yeah.
Okay, and we can probably go ahead and round it up to 77 just to make it easier on us later. So that's the first part of this composite figure. So let's do the trapezoid part. So we got to find the area now of the trapezoid. So remember, that's your formula they give you, but you can also use the base 1 plus base 2 times your height, and then just divide it by 2 at the end. So we can say 14 is base 1, base 2, and then our height. So once you know what numbers you're going to use, then you can go back and plug that into your formula. So we'll have 14 plus 18 times that by the height, which is 10, and then divide by 2. So good. 14 plus 8, do that first. Since it's order of operations, we want to do what's in parentheses. So 14 plus 18, 32. So then 32 times 10
is 3,200 or 300.
300.
Yeah, 300.
320.
Yes.
And then last step, divided by 2.
Which would be 160.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got the area of my semicircle, which is 77. I've got the area of my trapezoid. So to get the area of the whole shape up here, we've got to add those two areas together. So 160 plus 77, and I'll come up with my answer.
237.
Good.
That's a lot of number. 2, 3, 7.
So 237 inches squared altogether. Yay.
Just add 6.
Okay, so on number 1, what two shapes are we looking at here?
Square.
Parallel.
Triangular. Oh, it's a parallelogram and a semicircle.
Good. So we got
Triangle.
I told you.
a parallelogram, and
Semicircle.
semicircle. So that's half. So the area for a parallelogram is just base times height. The area of our semicircle is pi r squared, and then we divide it by 2 since it's just half a circle. So for the parallelogram, base times height, so we can do 8 times 5, which is,
40.
you're good,
40.
40.
Oh, Moses.
So then the semicircle, so pi we know is 3.14, then plug in our radius. What's our radius going to be?
3.
3, don't say 6. They gave you 6 because that's your diameter, so we're taking that, cutting it in half. So 3 squared divided by 2.
So 3 times 3.
No, 9.
Good, so 3.14, 3 squared is 9. So do that part first. We can do 3.14 times 9. 12, 27, 28. So 28.26, and then we want to divide that by 2. And just to save some time and dealing with decimals, just round this to 28. Round it down.
It's 14.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So the area of my parallelogram is 40. The semicircle is 14. So add those two areas together.
54.
So for the area of this whole composite figure, 54 millimeters squared. Okay, number 2. What two shapes are we looking at?
Square, triangular.
Square and a triangle. So for the square, the area of a square, guys, base times height. Triangle. We haven't used one of these yet. Base times height divided by 2. Good. I meant on this paper. Okay, so for the square, base times height, so 9 times 9.
9 times 9 is
81.
81.
That's what I had.
So then, plug in for base times height divided by 2 for our triangle. What's our base going to be for this triangle? 9. Since we've got a square, all of those sides are the same. So 9 times 6.
54.
Good. So 54 divided by 2.
That is 27. Yeah, what they said.
Good.
Yeah, it's 27. 4 and 7 plus 72.
So area of my triangle is 27. The area of my square is 81. So add those two areas together.
106.
Wait, wasn't this on a worksheet yesterday? Like one of these?
108.
Oh, what are you?
108 feet squared.
I said that.
108 feet squared. So your answer should be 108 feet squared.
I asked you.
Number 3. What two shapes do we have? Sorry.
Trapezoid. A square.
Good.
7 miles long.
We've got a square and a trapezoid.
What are they building?
That is a massive square.
So for the square, area is base times height. Trapezoid is base 1 plus base 2 times our height, and then we divide it by 2. So the square is the easiest one, so let's do that square first. What's 7 times 7 is 49. So then for my trapezoid, I need 2 bases. Well, here's 1, 5, but what about this guy? What's this gonna be? It should be good. It should be 7. If we know this part is 7, we can take 14 and subtract 7, and we know that would be 7 there also. So, no. Plug in the numbers you have into your formula. This is why every single time you get a problem like this, put the formula down and then plug it in. So 7 plus 5 times the height, which is 5, and we'll divide it by 2.
I'm on the moon.
So what's 7 plus 5?
12.
So we got 12 times 5, which is 60, then divided by 2.
30.
30.
I didn't add.
So the area of my square is 49. Trapezoid is 30. Add those two together.
You get 79.
We get 79. So the area is 79 miles squared.
How many miles? That's a lot of me.
What that means.